Hi, and welcome to the Senior Network. I'm your host, Greg Fulton, along with Debbie Lyons, my co-host.
Nice to see you.
You too. And we are joined by Mr. James Atkins, owner with Court Atkins Group.
Thank you for the invitation.
You don't feel like you're on the spot, do you?
Not at all.
We had a rock, paper, scissors to who got the first question.
You are, but I got to start with a little story.
Yeah, this is good.
This is good. James and I, we started our companies about the same time, a little over 13 years ago, in these little tiny little offices in Bluffton, South Carolina. And I remember we had to share a bathroom, and the bathroom was not heated.
Okay.
So in the wintertime, we had a lot of stories about trying to go to the bathroom. We always start somewhere.
So you always
exactly.
start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I know him because he's got a family and they have chickens and I have
Oh, my
chickens and
goodness.
it's all good. So we think he's a pretty good guy.
He's a cool guy.
Exactly. But we're talking about senior care.
Yes.
And as I've gotten older, my parents now live with me. I've had to kind of ADA accommodate my home. And I wondered, what are you doing these days architecturally in the world of senior living and senior care? It's a huge business, isn't it?
It is, and it's no longer kind of the old idea of nursing home.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it kind of comes with a bad stigma. And I think one of the unique things about the way we approach designs, we also do a lot of residential design. So every day we hear about what's important in making a place a home. So natural light, colors, open and flowing spaces are all relative to how people live today, enjoy their homes. And
You know what's funny is, not to interrupt you, but my doctorate, my PhD, is in wellness and physical spaces and it's natural light,
absolutely.
flow, openness. You have to love it. What are some things seniors should really know about designing their home?
Certainly things that make them feel comfortable, that home invokes memories about their life, and it takes a while to establish what home is. It's not just spaces. And so I think as they reflect on why spaces are important and why they are comfortable in those spaces, how we can translate those into senior living environments where they will age.
You said you're doing residential as well as more, and I hate to say facility, is that the right word that you use? What are the trends? What are you seeing people leaning toward?
From a trend standpoint, I think that's a combination of open and common spaces to connect with people, as well as places to get away, retreat, have a quiet place to read a book, and enjoy some meditative time, some alone time as well, and marrying those together so those spaces flow and breathe together.
Do you do a lot of your work in the Low Country, or are you pretty much national?
I would say that 80% of our work is in a 100-mile radius of here in Bluffton, Hilton Head, but we have extended all the way up to Wisconsin, all the way to the tip of Florida.
How did you get interested in this senior market? Is that a fair, that's...
Sure.
Yeah.
We had an opportunity to work on a couple local projects here with Bloom and Cypress for some renovations and remodels, and just really enjoyed the project type. The people that are involved in these type of facilities are so caring. Obviously, I've been blessed with wonderful grandparents, and my parents are now in that baby boomer phase, and eventually will be looking for places to live. And so I wanted to get to understand, what's out there and trends in design.
So let me ask you this. At 64 years old, I'm looking for, and I want to renovate my home. You would be a perfect person to call, because I'm imagining that you just would have some ideas that perhaps I hadn't thought about that could help me age in place more gracefully.
Absolutely. The longer we can keep people in their homes and connected in their communities, the better. And some adaptive reuse. Opportunities for obviously everyday living in kitchens and restrooms and bathrooms and things, accessibility to certain spaces, widening doorways, all can allow people to stay in their homes longer and connected with their neighbors.
And I wanted, earlier before the show, you brought up a great point, meaning be it assisted living, independent living, whatever it is, building from the inside out. Right. And that's where you start.
Yeah, stuck with me from, in my early education when Louis Kahn developed the Phillips Exeter Library. He started with the notion of a single person sitting, reading a book by candlelight, and then began to build architecture. And it's always stuck with me in how we could take that same notion in designing independent assisted living memory care, of really starting with the resident and their home in that particular facility, and then begin to wrap that with spaces that can promote community and gatherings, obviously large events, and then obviously you have to meet the regulatory requirements and support spaces and kitchens and things to wrap around that. But really starting from the inside, working out to architecture rather than designing a great building and fitting everything inside it.
Oh, it makes so much sense. It's real. What are you seeing in terms of materials, flooring, things like that that are really adaptive, if you will?
Sure. Technology in flooring has come such a long ways. It used to be difficult choices between carpets that were relatively bland, industrial, or the VCT tiles that were shiny and kind of institutional. Really commend a lot of the companies who've come out with great durable products that can withstand commercial applications, but are warm, inviting, emulate wood and stone and tile.
Is the goal really to deinstitutionalize, to create a home environment?
I think so. I mean, my opinion is that just because it's in a large facility, it is their home.
It's still your home, yeah. Right.
And it should feel like their home, and they should want to live there and engage people in the community and get to know their neighbors.
Oh, it's really multidimensional. It's multi-generational. I mean, it's pretty exciting to talk. It really is.
And I know you you enjoy it.
I love it. It's my favorite. Because I think the more you know, the more you know. And it's just an educational process. I love it.
It is. James, so glad to have you. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but it was wonderful to see you again, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be right back.